Thank you. I'm really pleased to be invited into this seminar and to give you a speech. I got as my topic today the importance of citizen participation now and in the future, and also in a Finnish municipality, in Finland and in Europe. So quite a big topic, so to say, but let's see what I, from my point of view, would like to say here to you. So I take as my starting point the intangible cultural heritage, which also Astrid mentioned here in her speech, and I will claim that the rise of a stronger position of intangible cultural heritage will change all heritage processes quite heavily in the future. And why I'm saying this is that intangible cultural heritage is really different in principle in comparison with tangible cultural heritage, and this is because intangible cultural heritage is living actions. It is actions which people do, skills which they have, and they are quite bodily skills also, and thoughts which are in minds of people, in minds of human beings. So it is not possible to separate intangible cultural heritage and human beings. And thus it is, because they are also living things, changing things, it's not possible to keep intangible cultural heritage unchanged. So it is something which is changing all the time, and it is, so to say, bodily things which are in human beings. So it is not possible to put living intangible cultural heritage in museums, for instance, in museum collections either. So this strengthening position of intangible heritage will change different heritage processes in the society. This is something I would like to emphasize. And this is my starting point for my thinking today. Heritage is also a part of culture, and in my definition, culture is a broader phenomena, and cultural heritage is a part of it. I use here the definition of culture of Ulf Hanners, who is a Swedish social anthropologist, in his book Cultural Complexity, where he compares culture with a stream. Culture is like a stream, and what he says, it is not possible to step twice in the same stream. So this is kind of antique idea about life, but here used as a definition of culture. So a stream, if you look at it far away, it seems to be quite have a stable structure, but if you look at it closer, it is changing all the time, and that's why it's not possible to step twice in the same stream. But what is then streaming in this stream of culture? In my definition, it is something which goes firstly from person to person, from past to future, and this how it goes, it's partly intentional, but then also partly unintentional. So we don't notice this stream, we are not aware of it in every second. Now also, when we are here talking to each other in this seminar, it is a part of this stream. And what then are these phenomena which we are giving and preserving in this stream? In my definition, they are traditions, and it's something tangible and also intangible traditions which we are receiving, changing, giving to other persons. And then I take from this what was defined or produced in this last year conference, this manifesto, I take one idea from there, and it is the promotion of positive change in society. And if we think about this kind of promotion and this stream of culture, then I think we use pieces of these traditions as tools when we are trying to reach this kind of positive change. And when we are taking some kind of traditions and when we are using them as this kind of tools, then we often define them as cultural heritage, or we just use them as cultural heritage without defining them as such. So cultural heritage is some kind of traditions which are which got a different position, status in the flow of culture. And those, if we think then this flow of culture and cultural change as a phenomena, so there is in everyday traditions also change. There is also resistance of change, but it is impossible to stop the change of everyday culture. It is something which there is this kind of cultural power which is constantly going on. And then everyday culture and traditions has an implicit transformative power from past to future. And what I think in this changing position of cultural heritage processes and the rise of intangible cultural heritage, that intangible and also tangible cultural heritage, they are intertwined more and more in different definitions, like for instance in this Faro convention, which Astrid also mentioned in her speech. So they could serve as this kind of explicit transformative power and promote this positive change in the society. But in my definition, only if heritage is used as a part of participatory co-creation processes of everyday culture. So I see this everyday culture in relation to these different heritage processes and the promotion of positive change by using cultural heritage, and also in relation to different regulations of global, European, national and regional heritage processes, like different UNESCO conventions, Faro Convention, different national legislation, and so far. And as you can see, there is arrows from everyday culture to both of these, to this kind of more practical promotion of positive change, but then also to these regulations. This is the relation of top-down or bottom-up, and I can see that there is this interaction. Everyday culture and traditions has also an impact to these top-down levels, so to say. And then there is also a possibility that different individuals living in different local communities, municipalities, may lose their power to define what is important in the local culture and cultural heritage from their point of view. So this is also a part of this relationship between everyday culture traditions and these other levels, other structures in cultural heritage processes. And if we think that intangible cultural heritage is something which is embodied in human beings, like in their thoughts, skills, actions, it is not nice to lose this kind of power to define what is important. So I think the right to rules one's own heritage is really important issue, and how to do it, what is required in these kind of processes is then, I have here 4 different issues. Firstly, care of this, the basic transformative power of culture, of the interactive, interconnected and changing process of culture, which is also a part of a process of nature. And there it includes both tangible and intangible elements of culture and the world. And in more practical way, it is care of everyone's possibilities to have an impact in this transformative process of culture without, of course, harming others. And then if culture is used in an economic way, I think it's also important to include care of privacy of people and communities when culture is productized, and care of the possibility of people to earn if their own culture is in economic use in some way. So what the kind of the participatory processes could we then use in different heritage contexts? Which kind of processes there could be between citizens, authorities, and then between different tangible and intangible heritages? I think it's really important to use different kind of participatory co-creative futures processes, living lamps, or this kind of maybe with also participatory future studies methodology. And if people are involved in these processes, then I think it is possible to promote positive change in society if it is a way to get people motivated and to have an impact in these processes. I think also that instead of to collect items in museums and also libraries could promote this kind of processes to be this kind of places where people, whoever could take part in these processes where cultural heritage, for instance, is defined and the use of cultural heritage is defined. So it is these participatory processes gives possibilities for people to have an impact in their own lives and the possibilities to get support for and also strength in heritage processes when people are involved. This was my main message, so thank you.